Yeah, so the question is, how do you do community outreach and outreach to tribes? So maybe I should clarify a little bit. I would not say it's not good to do outreach. I'd say it is good to do outreach. But when doing that, instead of saying, what things from our menu do you want, I think starting with, what do you need? How can we help? Can you advise me about how to position my organization and agency to be at the service of your people? You get a good response to that. It is complicated. You know, the Dakota communities, the 4 Dakota communities, southern Minnesota, are both small in population. And first of all, that alone impacts things. There are only a couple thousand Dakota humans in Minnesota. Most are kids. The number of adults with professional degrees in your lane of work that you can liaison with is pretty small. And even a lot of the tribes end up hiring a lot of non-native people to work in a lot of programs that they are building themselves to answer those needs, because they just don't have enough of their own folks that they can hire from. It's a little different with the 7 Ojibwe reservations in northern Minnesota. You know, Red Lake's got 20,000 tribal members, so it's a different situation. Yes, you do have good programs and offerings. Yes, you're here for all of the humans in this whole area. And yes, you should reach out to tribes. When doing so, I just think, you know, positioning yourself in partnership rather than pity will be more helpful for you for relationship building. And sometimes it does take not just time, but really thoughtful effort and engagement. It's kind of like the emotional trust bank account we have with Native stakeholders starts with a negative balance. And we haven't even opened our mouth yet or done anything wrong. And it has to do with hundreds of years of horrible policies from the federal government, the state government, from county agencies, all kinds of things. I don't know, like when there's an injury done, it's not as simple as the injury's behind us now, let's move forward. You know, you need to heal it. And then every time there's a situation like the utility company saying we're going to cut off your power if you build a solar plant, you know, then they're like, see, that's why. Roger Jourdain, and this is just to help you see a perspective, not advocating the perspective necessarily, but Roger Jourdain said this. He said, you can talk to a white man. You can work with a white man. You can even be friends with a white man. But you can never trust a white man. That was his view. He was tribal chair at Red Lake for 32 years in a row. And it's just because of all these historical damages. And there's just so much, when you look at it all, it's hard to unpack and address all of it. And I do think we need to address historical injustices to do some healing so we can get some things done. All the things matter. But as an example from maybe something a little more relatable, like if a dude goes out and cheats on his wife and wants to reconcile, he's probably not going to get too far saying, forget about it, it all happened in the past. He probably has to say, sorry, and mean it, and be believed. Probably has to listen to the story of his partner's pain and empathize with that and say, that sucked. And then there's a chance for a reconciliation or a divorce. You skip all that process though. Not only guarantee the divorce, but just so much more work for everybody to heal. So I think that's really one of the dangers of the shut up culture. Somebody wants to talk about slavery, genocide, or even more contemporary things, residential boarding schools, whatever it is, and somebody's saying, shut up, why do we have to talk about that? They're really saying, we expect you to be reconciled, but we're going to skip all the reconciling. It's your job to be healed, but we're going to skip all the healing. Not so effective. So we've inherited a canvas that has been painted on by others for a couple thousand years. All of us, if we had a blank canvas, would paint a totally different painting. So we get to add to the canvas, but it doesn't get to obliterate everything else that happened. We have to work with what's already there. So that's a little bit uncomfortable and constraining, but we can still make things better. And some of it is just accepting we're going to have to work on this canvas that's already got a bunch of stuff on it. But it's noble work, and we need it.